Jack in the Box. Right now, come try Jack's new fries. You can get a small order free this Friday. And by Southwest Airlines, go to southwest.com, grab your bag. It's on. Statistically, the Rangers are the second youngest team in the major leagues. And we begin by showing you, indeed, some youth. The Rangers, as a Sunday afternoon tradition, have the kids take the field before the actual players do. And, well, that kind of says it right there, unfortunately. The Rangers are also a little bit banged up right now. They've got a bunch of players on the DL. Some guys are just not hitting, too, which is a problem. Mentioned Julio Borbon at just 1 for 21. David Murphy will get the start at leadoff today instead. You're looking for Michael Young to get going, Elvis Andrus to get going, and maybe today will be the day that the Rangers get it all put together, Tom Grieve. It looked like yesterday was going to be that day, and then on came the ninth inning.
Well, yeah, it's such a disappointing loss yesterday just because you're facing one of the best pitchers in the league, Felix Hernandez, and you take a 2-run lead into the ninth inning, but it's difficult to be a closer in the big leagues. No one feels worse than Frankie. But, boy, when you get that 2-run lead in the ninth, you just love it when it's a nice 1-2-3 inning. Put the other team to bed and go on with your victory.
Neftali Feliz will close today if there is something to close. Ron Washington says that's not permanent, but that is the reality for right now. Frankie Francisco, since the first day of summer last year, his ERA is about 7.5, so it's something to monitor for sure. There's the new catcher, Matt Trainer, with Jared Saltalamacchia on the DL. Matt Trainer and Taylor Teagarden going forward right now are what it's all about. Well, and that young man is going to have to be coached off the field before we get there. We go. All right, now we're good. Now Joaquin Arias can take his throws at second base. How about Joaquin Arias, by the way? Ian Kinsler's on the DL. And Andres Blanco is supposed to be the makeshift second baseman, but Arias is 5 for his last 6 at-bats, and he's back in the lineup today.
Yeah, in the course of the season, there's not many guys who get 3 hits in a game against Felix Hernandez. That's a great day for Joaquin yesterday.
Here's Wally pipping Andres Blanco. The Mariners today, with Milton Bradley getting the day off, it's going to be Ichiro at the top, Sean Figgins, Casey Kochman, and Franklin Gutierrez made the game-saving catch yesterday. I'm sure we'll show you that at some point, just robbing Elvis Andrus to save it in the bottom of the ninth. Griffey and Lopez, Eric Burns gets the start today, Adam Moore and Jack Wilson. The rest of the way for Don Wakamatsu's Mariners. And scouting out Scott Feldman.
Second start for Scott. First one was a solid one. 7 innings, gave up a couple of home runs earlier in the ball game, but settled down, pitched really well, didn't walk a batter. Last year, 17 wins. He was the Ranger Pitcher of the Year. He's pitched in his career very well against Seattle. Last year, he had 4 starts against Seattle. He was 2-1, went at least 6 innings in each one of those starts. Didn't give up a home run to Seattle in 4 games, and opponents, Seattle, only hit .229 against him last year. So one of the better teams for Scott last year.
Ichiro got the game-tying hit in the ninth inning yesterday. The Mariners have been scoring pretty much all their runs this year in either the first inning or the ninth. They've only scored 19 runs in 6 games total. And 12 of those 19 runs have either been in the first inning or the last inning. Ichiro, who's, well, you just know it. I mean, if he stays healthy, it'll be another 200-hit season. There's one of them. And it begins the afternoon positively for Seattle. The Rangers defensively, again with Borbon out today, it's Murphy in left. That shifts Hamilton to center, and Cruz stays in right. Young, Andrus, Arias, and Davis around the horn. We've talked a lot about Matt Trainer already, and he's a guy who's been there, done that. Played 90 games last year for the Marlins.
That pitch that Ichiro hit up the middle, that was his cut fastball. Might not have gotten quite as far in as he wanted it to, but it wasn't bad pitch.
Here's where the Mariners will be at their most interesting this year. Ichiro and Figgins at the top of their lineup. They both get on base a lot. They both run real well. And you see the 28 at-bats he's had against Feldman. That's the only guy that Feldman has ever faced that many times in the big leagues. So not a lot of secrets here between Feldman and Figgins. That stat right there, that's why Figgins was courted so heavily by Seattle. They were second to last year in on-base percentage. They wanted guys who could walk. And Figgins actually led the league last season. Taken for a strike according to Todd Titchener. Mr. Titchener had a couple of tough calls at first base to make yesterday, and replay showed that he got them both wrong, unfortunately, because the Rangers were the team running the bases at that point. The Rangers had plenty of other opportunities, though, yesterday. They were hitless with runners in scoring position. That doesn't help. And as you said, Tom, when you're that close to beating King Felix, boy, that's a game you got to have.
Yeah, you like to be two runs ahead in the ninth inning with your closer in there anytime, but especially you have a chance to beat him. I mean, you come into the ball game and nothing is determined before the game is played, but you've got your fifth starter against one of the best starters in the league, and you take a 2-run lead in the ninth, and I think it makes it even more disappointing when you end up losing a game like that. But you play 162 of them. You don't have time to dwell on any one loss. There's really not a carryover effect. You got a different pitcher out there. So do they the next day. Put it behind you. Come out and play again.
A little bit high with that one. The stats bear it out how unusual that is. Last year when the Rangers led after 8 innings, they were 77-3. But this year so far they're 1-2. And again, at least for the moment, Frankie Francisco will not be closing. It'll be Feliz today. Runner goes, and the bouncing ball grabbed by Davis. What a play! Feldman to the bag.
It wasn't a hard hit ball, but it wasn't right at Chris either. He had to use his cat-like quickness, his long arms, and for a big guy, it's unusual to be able to make that kind of move. That would have been a tough way to start the game, 1st and 3rd and nobody out. Instead, they turned that into 1 out.
Ron Washington has championed the cause of Chris Davis now for basically a year, saying that he is about the best defensive first baseman in the American League. And remember, you've got Casey Kochman here with Seattle. You got Mark Teixeira in New York. I mean, there's a lot of really good ones. Ron Washington says, I haven't seen any better. And the aforementioned Casey Kochman, who actually has 6 runs batted in already this year, is a bonus. That leads the team.
He had 4 on opening day, didn't he?
Yep.
He had an upper deck home run against the Rangers in the first game of this series.
Glove first, though, for Kochman. In fact, he arrived in Seattle tag with the best fielding percentage of any first baseman in Major League history, with a minimum of 3,500 chances. Doesn't have the most range, but he sure has soft hands, and that makes him just a great guy when you got a short hop one, scoop one over there. Feldman not quite there yet. Actually, his first, I would say, 3 innings on opening day were probably the wobbliest innings, if I can invent a word. After that, though, everything was just great. He retired 12 of the last 13 Toronto Blue Jays that he faced. Bouncing ball, Arias pursues, and the play is to first. He got it. So now Franklin Gutierrez, and again, speaking of guys that can do it with the bat and the glove, Gutierrez won the game yesterday for Seattle with the glove. That leaping catch that he made against Elvis Andrus in the 9th inning. And the bat has been just fine, too. He's actually leading the American League in hits right now. He's got 10 of them.
Yeah, and that play yesterday is not the only play that he's made in this series against the Rangers. He's made a number of other very nice plays out there. Great plays sometimes don't look like great plays when he makes them because he's so smooth out there. He makes them look a little easier than it really is.
Well, that was the case yesterday. I mean, that ball just got up in the jet stream and looked like it was going to go. And effortlessly, he just tracked it down and took it back in.
And that's not a simple part of the ballpark either. That's right where it juts out at the 377 sign. So he had to time that nicely in a tricky little part of the ballpark, too.
Looked for a moment like the Rangers might fight back, just like they did on opening day. But as it turned out, those 3 in the 9th for Seattle carried the day, and the Mariners avoided what would have been a really sluggish 1-5 start. Got the lights on today to get things going. A lot of cloud cover, and it's certainly a pleasant afternoon, 68 degrees. Two balls, 2 strikes to Gutierrez. Ken Griffey Jr.'s on deck. Little bit snug. This crowd hoots and hollers at that. 3-2.
We got a good look at that with that direct behind the pitcher look. Looked like it might have been a little bit inside, somewhere right around where the chalk of the batter's box is. You get a good look how far inside it was.
Again, Gutierrez, a guy that actually leads the American League in hits right now. He started out with 10 of them already in the first 6 games. Now Feldman on 3-2. Got him to roll it to second. Arias scoops it. Feldman's out of the inning. Now here come the Rangers to the plate against Ian Snell. No score. Without him, and trying to square their record at 3-3. If they can get to Ian Snell this afternoon, we'll scout out the 28-year-old Mr. Snell momentarily. First, we'll introduce you to the Ranger lineup. presented by Southwest Airlines. Murphy in for Bourbon, then Young, Hamilton, and Guerrero. Nelly Cruz tied with Vernon Wells for the AL lead in home runs. Davis and Matt Trainer, Arias and Andrews. And the Dover, Delaware native Ian Snell has become the number 2 starter for Seattle because Cliff Lee is on the disabled list. Get you back to his scouting report right here.
Had a good opening day start against Oakland, 1 run in 6 innings. His last 10 starts for Seattle, you can see the numbers, 5-1, 284.
Murphy to left, and it drifts, and it's foul.
Snell came over from the Pirates, started out in Pittsburgh, pitched a little bit in AAA. With the Pirates, he was 2-8 with a 5.36 ERA. Last year with Seattle, he was 5-2 in 12 starts, so he really turned his career around. I guess when he went to Indianapolis, he was terrific in AAA, but Seattle scouted him there, brought him over in a trade, and they've been real happy with what they've seen of Snell.
He definitely did not want to stay with the Pirates organization. He was, well, he wasn't pitching well, number one, so it's not like the Pirates were thrilled with what they were getting at the big league level. Murphy trying left field again. And there's Eric Burns. He's got it. As we check the Seattle defense, we talked about Snell in spring training a little bit. He did that weird thing where he said, you know, instead of going to the bullpen, I'd rather just go to AAA and keep on starting. And if I don't convince you guys that I can do this well, somebody will notice me and want to trade for me. And he put his money where his mouth was. He went down there and struck out 17 Toledo Mud Hens in 7 innings in his first start. I think we got to make a road trip to Toledo on the off day, Tag. Did you see what they are now offering at their ballpark this year to eat?
No.
I think that at least our producer might be interested in trying this thing.
Tell you what, it better be filet mignon, lobster tips, and well, something else to drive to Toledo. I'll guarantee you that.
Well, you know how you can get the ice cream in like the souvenir batting helmet?
Uh-huh.
Well, they're doing that, but in an actual sized batting helmet.
Wow.
Like a Michael Young size, what he's wearing right now. 3,600 calories of ice cream in that helmet.
I bet you they're not giving out one of Kevin Mench's helmets filled with ice cream.
It'd be 9,000 calories. 3-1 the count to Michael, who has only struck out once his first week of the season. That's a great sign. He's going to hit this one high and well. Right center field. Gutierrez back again. He won't get this one. Home run.
And from what we've seen of Gutierrez, that's about the only ball he won't catch. One that he can't go into the stands for.
I was ready for him to don that Superman cape and do it again, but that ball just had too much on it. Michael Young's first homer of 2010. And sure enough, it's to the opposite field. That's what he does. Got himself that favorable 3-1 count. Gives the Rangers a 1-0 lead. Here's Hamilton. Yeah, same part of the park where Andrews hit his yesterday, just a little bit more on it. That is the 6th Ranger home run on the homestand. Again, 4 of those have been off the bat of Nelly Cruz. Cruz and Guerrero really carrying the offense, obviously, but Josh Hamilton, as you talked about, Tom, during the pregame show, the fact that he's walking so much, even though the batting average is down, he's getting on base. Doing it again. Left center field. Creasing the out. Bouncing all the way to the wall, and Hamilton rumbles to second. He's got a double.
Well, Josh is healthy. He felt great in spring training. He was just out of whack when the season started. His foot tap and his timing were a little bit out of whack. But the fact that he's taking pitches out of the strike zone and swinging at strikes over the course of the season is going to be a huge factor. And once he gets his timing back, and it looks like it's coming back now, it's a real good sign when you line that down and away pitch into the gap in left center field. That'll keep him from swinging at bad pitches. He's already walked 5 times this year, 3 in his last 2 games. And so the on-base percentage goes up with the walks, and the batting average should stay solid or go up because now he's not swinging at bad pitches and getting himself out.
Don Wakamatsu takes it upon himself to go out and talk to Ian Snell. Pitching coach, no. The manager, yes. You better deliver the message here, I suppose. I suppose you could say don't give Vlad Guerrero anything good to hit, but he's going to swing at it anyway.
Well, to me, if a manager doesn't want Guerrero to get a hit in a situation, he should walk him intentionally, because you put too much pressure on the pitcher when you say don't give him anything good to hit. You know, he ends up reaching for 1 8 inches outside and gets a base hit, and the manager said, I thought I told you not to give him something good to hit. He said, I didn't. The only thing he can do is bounce one up there, really.
Dude's got the wingspan of a pterodactyl. I can't help it. He's going to swing, and he can reach anything. Swinging. Ground ball deep in the hole. Under the glove of Jack Wilson. And now Hamilton will cruise to third. Had to wait to see if that ball would escape.
That was a careless play by Wilson. No play, for he's not going to throw Guerrero out. And so he went down on one knee, sliding. All he had to do was put his glove down, block the ball. It would have been men on first and second instead of men on first and third.
Did Wilson think Lopez was going to handle that ball? The way he looked back at Lopez afterwards.
Sure looked like it the way he looked back at him. I mean, just the fact that he went down for it, he saw the ball. But I think you're right. Off the bat, I think he assumed that Lopez was going to catch that ball. And he played with Beltre last year, their third baseman, last month. And if Beltre's playing third base, he would have caught that ball. Well, I think he was fooled a little bit.
Here's Nelson Cruz, leading the league in homers and runs batted in, and slugging percentage, and total bases. He has driven in 8 of the 16 Ranger runs this year. Only one other Ranger has ever done what Nelly has done. That's homer 4 times in the first 5 games of the season. Dean Palmer did that way back in '93. All right, Geico quote of the day. Nelson Cruz says, you don't expect to hit a homer every at bat. But you know what? He's been pretty close so far.
He's had 8 hits, 4 home runs, and a couple of doubles.
Ooh, caught the corner. Got ready to say a 3-1 count. Be nice and tasty for Nelson Cruz, but instead it's 2-2.
Let's get a look at the catcher's glove. Looked like when it went by the plate, it was close to the strike zone. The tracker says no.
Lines it up into the crowd. Rangers already leading with a Michael Young home run. And the team came in today hitting only .216. The 2 Chicago teams are worst right now. The Cubs are .204. The White Sox are .188. Sure hope Rudy Jaramillo isn't getting any flack just because of 6 games into the season. The Cubs are hitting .200, but knowing how the media operates sometimes, I'm sure somebody's written a piece. Long season. Let's see if the Rangers send Vlad Guerrero on 3-2 with 1 out. Hamilton the runner at third. The other team not hitting right now, Tag, we're going to see them for a few games coming up. That's Cleveland, hitting .210 as a team.
They're having some runs today, though. They've got 7 or 8 in against the Tigers. In fact, they had 5 in the first inning against Verlander today.
That's without Grady Sizemore, too. He got scratched with a bad back. Guerrero goes. Nelly Cruz checks his swing. And they are loaded up for Chris Davis.
Good at bat right there for Nelly. You got a man on third, less than 2 outs, swinging the bat while you're dying to get a good pitch and drive it. Instead, he was patient. Snell threw him a lot of tempting pitches, including this changeup on 3 balls and 2 strikes, but Nelly laid off it.
That's going to be important, too. I mean, the more Nelson Cruz establishes that he's for real, he's going to get more and more pitches out of the strike zone.
Yeah, for sure.
Great spot for Chris Davis. He's up over top of it, 0-1.
Yeah, Nelly didn't show people he was for real last year as an all-star. Then the first week of the season might have confirmed it.
The other thing I think it does, I mean, how do you, when Ian Kinsler's ready to go, how do you drop Nelly in the batting order? I mean, right now Cruz is batting 5th. That ball slowly towards 3rd and coming home with it for 1. The fielder's choice, and Matt Trainer will hit with the bases loaded.
One thing early in the season that has really plagued the Rangers is being able to get that guy in from 3rd base with less than 2 outs. Yesterday, late in the ball game, beautiful hit and run. 1st and 3rd, 1 out, 3-1 game. Sacrifice fly, you make it a 4-1 game. The Rangers couldn't get that run in. Your bases loaded and 1 out. You hate to waste an opportunity to add to a 1-0 lead. Rangers have had a lot of opportunities like that.
Matt Trainer's first Ranger at bat is with the bases loaded. He's here because Saltalamacchia is on the DL, and there's some irony there. Salty's first at bat with the Rangers was with the bases loaded. And he took one right up the middle to score 2 runs. Snell has dropped behind 2-0, and Matt Trainer, as we talked about, a guy that has some skins on the wall. He's played in the big leagues plenty. Was prepared to be a backup in Milwaukee this year, but when it looked like that was not going to work out, the Brewers traded him to the Rangers so he could be the emergency guy.
Good pitch to take right there. You've worked the count with the bases loaded at 2-0. Make him throw a strike. You've seen his fastball. Chances are pretty good you're going to see another one.
Trainer, a big rip at the high heat. The Rangers are dead last in the majors in walks. They've only drawn 14 of them now, including the one Nelson Cruz just got a few minutes ago. Swinging a foul. Of course, that was one of the action points that the Rangers really wanted to move forward with. Getting on base more, walking more, being more patient. Hasn't happened quite yet, but they've been facing some strike throwers, too, to be fair about it. Felix Hernandez is not going to walk 7 guys. Those guys from Toronto weren't about to do that either. 3-2, and Snell's going to have to throw a 30th pitch of this first inning.
And a hard time getting the ball down. Throw another one up there.
Trainer pounds it to center. Gutierrez is back, and he's got it. Rangers leave him loaded, but they score on the Michael Young home run to lead Seattle 1-0 at the ballpark this afternoon.
in the community, and today Delvin McMillan, he is with Ride to Recovery, here to tell us about a great cycling event that recently took place that helped out a great cause.
Yeah, Ride to Recovery is a ride for injured veterans who've been in the military. That we do fundraisers by riding from city to city. And this ride that we did this past weekend, we rode from San Antonio to here to Dallas, so to raise money so we can get more veterans involved with the program.
Now, I heard a big event, a big turnout, and a lot of money raised. Now, for those who want to help out, what do they need to do?
Either go to recovery.com. You can visit that site, or either we're on Facebook also. So just go to those sites.
There we go. We will do that. Delvin, keep up the great work. Appreciate it. Josh?
Thank you, Delvin. Thank you, Jim, very much. Ken Griffey Jr. at the plate. Future Hall of Famer. With a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Will take down an in from Feldman. 13-time All-Star, 10-time Gold Glover. Of course, the one thing he hopes to still get before he's done, Tag, that would be that elusive trip to the World Series. That has not happened yet.
They had a couple of Seattle teams when he was with Seattle that definitely had a chance to go to the World Series.
They got him their first division series win, sliding across home plate with a great big smile on his face against the Yankees.
That was a great game.
That
postseason play, things have to go your way. They were certainly a good enough team to win the American League. They just didn't do it.
Oh, he is so loved in that city. We were talking about this the other day for a bit, Tag. I mean, the one thing he does, I think, better than anybody else in baseball is he just breaks down barriers. Last year, took Ichiro and Kenji Jojima out for sushi, even though he's allergic to fish. He just wanted to be, you know, the guy that takes him out to dinner. Pounding that one in the right center field. And, you know, from all the accounts, that the once isolated nature of that Seattle clubhouse, that just simply doesn't exist anymore. A lot of that's because of Griffey. He'll find out what you're interested in, and he'll get interested in it, too. Second Seattle hit, and Jose Lopez comes up next. Lopez off to a slow start for the year, just 5 hits. And no runs batted in.
Seattle on paper is not one of the better offensive teams in the league, but Lopez is a good offensive player. He had 25 home runs last year, knocked in 96 runs. So they're counting on him being one of the guys in the middle of the lineup who can drive the ball. One thing Lopez doesn't do is walk, though. He only walked 24 times. He had 613 at-bats last year. He doesn't strike out either. He makes pretty good contact for a guy with power. He had 42 doubles. 25 home runs. He only struck out 69 times, but he only walked 24 times.
Lofting that one into the crowd. Well, and again, you know, the Mariners knowing full well that they've got some guys that they're going forward with that just don't work the count that well, don't walk that much. They tried to bring in some guys who do. Guys like Figgins and Bradley. Of course, they jettisoned Yuniesky Betancourt, got rid of that little issue last year, dealt him to Kansas City. But Lopez is a guy like Betancourt, just doesn't like to walk. And he does strike out here. Feldman just pulled the string on him.
Yeah, he threw him a slider, like a slurve. His cutter has more velocity than that and doesn't break quite as much. This ball started out in the strike zone and just kept breaking away from Lopez. And a sidearm curveball.
Eric Burns will certainly lighten the mood in that Seattle clubhouse, too. We've told his story before about when he went off to winter ball the first couple of years. They nicknamed him Captain America. Kind of that daredevil style. Run into a wall for you. Line shot, base hit. By a diving Michael Young. It's going to be 2 on, and it gets away from Murphy. Runners advance. Well, David Murphy's played plenty of left field, and even though he's not been out there a lot this week, that's a play that just doesn't happen to Murph often, if ever.
It wasn't a hard play. I think David just took his eye off the ball. He put his glove down to catch it. You see him look up to see if he had to make a throw, and just forgot to catch the ball. You know, Griffey at first base was not going to go to third base until the ball glanced off David's glove.
Well, it gives Adam Moore a nice little opportunity here to tie the game. Moore out of UT Arlington. Just down the road from here. There's a strike. Now that Jeff Clement has been traded to Pittsburgh, this is a guy who's considered the Mariners' catcher of the future. 6'3", 220-pounder.
A couple of years ago in A-ball, he hit 22 home runs, knocked in 102 runs. Then 2 years ago in Double-A, had another good year, hit close to 320, 14 home runs. He's had good numbers in the minor leagues, played his way through the system last year, got to the big leagues for a while with Seattle.
That one's up, 1-2. Kenji Jojima left him hanging a little bit. I mean, he had come over from Japan and was serviceable for a few years, but then he decided just time to go back to Japan. Slowly towards short with the infield back. That'll get a run in. Andrews to Davis. And the RBI. First of the year for Adam Moore.
That's too bad. Scott made a good pitch. Without the error, men on first and second. If you make that same pitch, simple double play. Seattle second and third, 1 out. Took advantage of the situation and got the run in. Rangers had the bases loaded and 1 out. Couldn't get a run in.
Another guy brought in for defense last year. We mentioned the Yuniesky Betancourt deal. He was great on defense as well, but just really didn't do that much at the plate. And Jack Wilson has done enough at the plate, plus the defense. They were thrilled to find that he was available coming the other way from the Pirates.
Yeah, he's a career just about a 270 hitter, so the fact that he didn't hit much in 100 at bats doesn't mean much. They're glad that he's back. But he's another guy in the lineup that won't walk and won't strike out. You know, he's going to put the ball in play, but he's not going to be a patient hitter that works the count.
Seattle fans still kind of point to the fact that they could have taken Troy Tulowitzki in the 05 draft to solve their shortstop issue forever. In fact, a couple minutes before that draft began, Tulowitzki says he took a call from the Mariners, who were picking third. They told him, "You're our guy." But sometime in the next half hour, they decided they needed a catcher instead, and they took Jeff Clement out of USC.
Well, if you hit on one of those type catchers, you hit big, because he's the kind of guy they thought could catch for him and maybe be a middle of the lineup home run hitter. Hasn't worked out yet for him. It may yet work out, but hasn't worked out yet. Didn't work out for him in the Mariners, that's for sure.
Tagged foul in the crowd.
One guy needs more than a glove to catch that ball.
I saw that too.
Net.
That got on him in a hurry, though.
Be careful, kids. Looking at each other going, "Did you see that?" No, that's why I didn't catch it.
I heard it. Well, Feldman approaching 40 pitches now in this second inning. That's where it ends with Jack Wilson. Once through the order, Scott Feldman has held the Mariners to 1 run unearned. And the Rangers coming up when we come back. Best hitter on the team up there. Well, anytime you can go 3 for 3 against King Felix, as you said earlier, Tag, you just kind of sit back, do the red Auerbach cigar, and say, I had myself a day.
You can look around the league and say to most players, how many times have you done that?
Most scouts that we've talked to say he's got, we're talking about Felix Hernandez, the best overall collection of stuff in the league. And we're talking Zach Greinke, we're talking Verlander. I mean, there's a great argument that you can put forth about all that. Go to the National League and talk Tim Lincecum, but just in terms of pure stuff, doesn't get any better than Felix Hernandez. Arias just continues to do everything right. Kinsler, by the way, expected back in about a week and a half. That's the new timetable. They're hoping he can be ready when the Rangers go to Fenway on April 20th-ish. We'll see if the Rangers look at running with Joaquin Arias. Texas has only attempted 1 stolen base his first week of the season.
Yesterday they put on a beautiful hit and run with Elvis at the plate. A ground ball into right field for first and third.
And in terms of the lack of steals, it's certainly not like the Rangers are trying not to run. It's not like that. It's just that when your speedy guys aren't getting on base, it's just not time to get going. Bourbon has been on base only 1 time this first week of the season. Elvis Andrus only 3 times. One thing Elvis showed at the tender age of 20, though, last year was the ability to work that count. He was second on the team last year in terms of percentage of pitches taken. And that's stunning for a guy who was only 20 years old. Most guys come up, I mean, if they do come up in their early 20s, boy, they're itchy. They're over anxious. You can't stop themselves from swinging. But Elvis was very mature. Rangers out at 2-3. The other Texas-based team is not even doing that well. Poor Houston is 0-5. All the other National League teams have 2 wins already. No one's even 1-4. Everybody's at least 2-3 except for the Astros, who are 0-5 at home.
You got a situation, 2 balls and 1 strike. It's a good count to run on. Good count to put a hit and run on, because you expect the pitcher to throw a strike right here. You should get a decent pitch to swing it.
Nothing happening yet, and that take makes it 2-2. Infield, the double play depth, and Arias extends that lead just a little. Not going. And now you figure he will be 3-2.
I would think he'd be going right here. Elvis is not a big strikeout guy. Look for him to make some contact right here.
Snell with that long look and then throws in the dirt. That's what we were talking about earlier with Kochman. He just doesn't let baseballs get by him. Not going is Arias. Andrews sends it foul. As we talk about Ian Kinsler getting closer to coming back, and the Rangers continue to work with him. Jamie Reed in the blue sweatshirt. Jose Vasquez in the other, I guess, lighter blue shirt. He was the other guy on the scene there, the Rangers strength coach.
It's the first day that Ian has gone out and worked out with spikes on.
With the runner in motion, that ball pounded to the alley, and Ichiro can't get it. Arias hesitated at second, now comes to third, being windmilled around by Dave Anderson. No throw home, down to third is Andrews. 2-1 Rangers.
I thought Ichiro was going to catch that ball. Not that it was an easy play, but I'm not sure if he took a bad read on the ball, or maybe the ball just hit over his head. It's tough to tell from our angle, but I guess everything that goes out there between Gutierrez and Ichiro, you just expect it to be caught. You kind of take the negative view when the ball goes up in the air. It's nice to see a ball between those guys finally find some grass. I think Figgins might have had a play at third base, but he wasn't sure exactly where the runners were.
The Mariners just started out, by the way, with the infield back, came racing in just as Snell was delivering that first pitch. As you look at Ichiro going and getting that ball. And it's now 0-2 to Murphy. That was really bizarre. I mean, Snell was already into the windup when apparently the call came from the bench that everybody should be moving in. So you had Snell winding up and 4 infielders just running at full speed towards the grass.
Catcher's interference.
Yes.
That'll work on a no ball 2-strike count.
Wow. Nothing going right for the Mariners suddenly. You only see 1 or 2 of those all year, but catcher's interference. That goes as an E2. Adam Moore just reaching out too far with the glove, getting in the way of Murphy's swing.
You love to have a guy have the chance to swing the bat, but when you're down no balls and 2 strikes as a hitter, you're in a situation where it's tough to hit. You get a catcher's interference in that situation, you'll take the base runner. Now you got Young, Hamilton, Guerrero, Cruz coming up, 2 men on, still nobody out. 44 pitches so far for Snell, with nobody out in the second inning.
Young, who's already homered today. That's the second time, I believe, that David Murphy has drawn a catcher's interference in the last couple of years. The champion of doing that was Pete Rose. A couple times a year, it seemed like. In fact, 29 times in his career, Pete Rose reached on catcher's interference. Looking for that multiple hit game is Michael Young. Instead sends a screaming line drive, and Ichiro fires it in.
That's a pretty deep line drive, but with nobody out, you can't take a chance, and it's a good thing too, because Ichiro got that ball home on 1 hop.
That's something Ichiro can still do for sure, is line it up and fire.
Took no time to get rid of that ball either, and there it is, right on the money. It's some kind of drug. Most guys have to catch that ball and then take a running start before they can get that kind of momentum on the ball. And you're looking at one of the better right fielders too.
That brings up another guy with a great throwing arm. Just kind of icing on the cake for both guys because they do so many other things well. Here's Hamilton.
Tough at bat for Michael. If you go the other way with a pitch out over the plate, drive it right on a line, look up, and there's Ichiro standing right there. They had him positioned well.
Backhand stop. Well, the Rangers, remember, left the bases loaded in the first. They've got a couple men on here in the second, and even though they're leading 2-1, that's never a good feeling, right? If you leave 5 guys on in the first 2 innings.
No, you'd love to get the guy in from third with less than 2 outs, even if it's, slowly hit ground ball, fly ball, whatever it takes to get that other run in. Couldn't do that in the first inning to get the extra run in.
Hamilton, who doubled in the first inning, and all of his hits so far this year, Tom, have been to the opposite field. He has not pulled one for a hit yet. Ooh, now he works himself into a very favorable position. You've got Vlad Guerrero on deck. You don't want to face Vlad with the bases loaded. Now you figure you're getting something to hit here on 3-1.
Well, if you don't, take it, because you'll get another pitch to look at.
Changing up on 3-1.
Didn't want to give him a fastball. And borderline pitch, probably a strike though. It's right at the bottom of the strike zone.
Flicks it towards the crowd. I think Seattle did a smart thing, Tom, by realizing a few days into the season going with a 6-man bullpen was just not going to be wise. They've got some guys in this rotation behind Felix Hernandez who throw a lot of pitches and are just not 7-8 inning guys. Ian Snell already is at 54 pitches here. He walks Hamilton.
If they went with a 6-man bullpen, they'd be one of the only teams in baseball that did have a 6-man bullpen. It used to be, if you go back 30 or 40 years, it was a 5-man bullpen. Then it gradually got up to 6, and I think now it's pretty standard, except in rare cases, to have a 7-man bullpen.
Still pretty weird to hear everybody cheering for Vladimir Guerrero in this ballpark, but he's already won everybody over with his great first week. Deep to left and bending. Foul.
Well, they've had a chance in the opening homestand of the season to see him go 10 for 20 so far. Almost 11 for 21.
Guerrero does have 5 career grand slams, and he's hit some real good pitchers. Zach Greinke and Rich Harden are 2 of the 5 guys he's got salamis against.
He hasn't had a chance this year to hit with men on base very often. Most of his hits have come without men on base.
Whacks that one into left field. There's a base hit. It gets out there to Burns too quickly, though. Murphy has to hold it third. The Rangers take a 3-1 lead.
That's one of those rockets. If he gets that up in the air, that's up over a restaurant somewhere.
As was hoped, the Rangers are getting from Vlad Guerrero what Vlad Guerrero used to do to them.
Well, the good thing is it only ended up with 1 run, but now you've still got the bases loaded for Nelly Cruz, and pretty tough to pitch around him with the bases loaded.
So are you putting in the call, or am I?
Go ahead. You mentioned it.
Well, he's already got 4 home runs, does Nelson Cruz, to lead the American League. And Rick Adair, the pitching coach, will head on out there to talk to Snell. No action in the bullpen for Seattle yet, but boy, you figure that might change soon. Folks, if you're traveling this season, you can take the Rangers with you. Subscribe to MLB.tv. You can see every Rangers game live or on demand right on your computer. Go to TexasRangers.com to get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Well, you got Guerrero hitting 500. You've got Cruz hitting 444. The Dominican duo carrying the Rangers here in week 1. That one sneaks onto the corner for a strike. Jesus Colome in the bullpen for Seattle. Good take, huh, by Nelson Cruz.
It's a tough pitch to take when you're up there with the bases loaded and anxious. Nelly was up first and third in the first inning and laid off a couple of close pitches and worked the walk.
Pokes that one towards center. Franklin Gutierrez is going to line it up. And a play at the plate coming. Good throw, but not in time. Murphy is across. It's 4-1.
That's all you have to do. You got to put the ball in play, get it up in the air. And with one of the best center fielders, when he's that deep, it's still tough to get it there, even with a great throw, quicker than a runner who can run a little bit. So make your contact, get that extra run. That's what the Rangers have not been doing that.
Nelly just kind of golfing it out there on Masters Sunday.
Well, if Masters Sunday is as good as Masters Saturday, it's going to be an incredible day.
Chris Davis with 2 on. We'll take outside. Is that Tiger guy playing that sport right now? Is that
he's not playing it too well right about now.
Ball and a strike to Davis. Long first couple of innings here. Davis sends it towards right field, down in front of Ichiro, who's up with it, and he'll air it out. Heading to the plate, there's the tag, too late.
Oh, the Rangers just did 2 really good things.
And now something that went wrong. Davis just tried to take second base. That wasn't real smart. Another run came in, though. Vlad Guerrero snuck in as Davis was going down there. That run does count. And we'll have to come back and recap all of that. Wow, that was way too much happening. So stay with us. We'll come back, tell you, and show you. The Rangers lead it 6-1.
something the Rangers have not been able to do early in the season. Get those big hits like that with a couple of outs, men in scoring position. That was nice to see.
Right. I mean, all game yesterday they went hitless for the entire day with runners in scoring position.
Yep.
So a busy first couple innings for the Rangers, no doubt. They've already sent, 15 men to the plate. Yeah, 7 hits already today. That's got to help Scott Feldman a little bit, right? Pitch with a nice little cushion here.
He's got to get a ground ball right here, turn a double play, keep his pitch count down a little bit, get up a little bit after the first couple of innings.
Seattle has not scored more than 5 runs in a game yet this season, and playing their 7th game today. And in Scott Feldman, the Rangers have a 17-game winner from a year ago. There's a strike to Kochman. On the out-of-town scoreboard, the Twins and White Sox are tied 4-4 in the 8th. If the Twins win that, Tom, they will go home to their new stadium 6-1.
Great start.
They have not committed an error yet this year, the entire first week of the season. Runner goes, Trainer throws. And the tag is a beauty to go.
What a play. Figgins is an excellent base stealer, although he was thrown out 17 times last year. But Matt got rid of it quickly, and Elvis made a nice pick and a great tag. I like to get an out like that for a 4-run lead. Watch the pick. And the tag.
Wow, great.
Nice play.
Great tag.
Nice play by Matt. Good play by Elvis. Scott says thank you very much.
Able to go from the full wind. The base is clear now and pours in a strike.
That's a good concentration to be able to catch that short hop.
Little golf clap from Elvis on Masters Sunday.
Nice throw, Matt. You're welcome.
In on the hands and fouled.
The reason Elvis had a chance to pick it and make the tag was how quickly Matt got rid of that ball. He was ready just in case Figgins was going to run.
Time requested. Feldman and Trainer trying to get together on what to throw here on 3-2. Lofted into center field. It's shallow. Andrews back over the shoulder, made the catch. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Pretty nice inning for Ellis. He went a long way to catch that ball. The outfielders couldn't get to it.
Nice afternoon for the Rangers so far, leading 5-1. Favorites for just $34 for most games. Some restrictions do apply. Go to TexasRangers.com for details. I'm going to try to import from Toledo that batting helmet full of ice cream. The professional-sized batting helmet. The other one I saw.
They don't have the air holes in the top of the helmet.
Matt Trainer sends one up in the air for Kochman. The team in Grand Rapids, Michigan, Tag, we found out, they've got this year, they got a half-pound hot dog with Philly cheesesteak on it, peppers and onions. They're calling it the Declaration of Indigestion. So we'll have to see if we can import that one, too.
Got a pretty good foot-long chili cheese dog right here at the ballpark, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm. A lot of good food here.
Nice. They still have it, but that Hamilton ham sandwich, what do they call it? The ham bone?
The Hambino, I believe.
Hambino? That looks pretty good.
We went off the board yesterday. I hope you got some of this from the fridge, Tag. But we had our friends from the Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory come by yesterday. Tom Maxwell gave us. I mean, this was just like the Taj Mahal of fudge.
Well, I see there's not much left today,
no.
So you and Mark Grace must have put a pretty good dent in it.
We did okay.
Thanks to Tom Maxwell and the Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory. Very popular item up here.
Can we take that with us on the road?
There's a little bit left.
Arias again, base hit left field. 3 hits off Felix Hernandez yesterday.
Joaquin says, I know that Ian's coming back in a week or 10 days. I don't want to be the one that goes.
They got to hustle.
I don't blame him.
Well, after starting the season 0 for 5, he is now, let's see here, 7 for his last 9. That's pretty good. Any other goodies that we got to say thanks for?
Nothing edible, but our friend Tom Geyer sent a copy of the book that he's writing. He's been to 46 different stadiums.
Wow.
He plans 5 this year. He's going to KC, St. Louis, Chicago, Milwaukee, Minnesota. He's putting together a book on it. Real great looking book. Very interesting.
But we
look
can't
at all the stadiums.
We can't eat it, though.
No, well, you could try. I don't think that's what Tom intended.
No.
You know, maybe if you read it first before you ate it, he'd probably appreciate it.
I've been known to devour a book. I can do that.
I remember Jim Kern telling a story when we had the tribute to Jim Reeves at the Rangers banquet. Talked about the time Revo was reading a novel on the Ranger plane way back in the 70s. And Jim Kern and Sparky Lyle waited until he had like 3 pages to go, took the book. Sparky Lyle ripped the pages out, and Jim Kern ate the last 3 pages of Revo's book.
Action again in the bullpen. Jesus Colome. 8 hits for the Rangers already off of Ian Snell. Andrews trying right center field again. Gutierrez like it's no big deal. He's just sensational out there.
Oh, that's too bad. Elvis is swinging the bat really well right now. We got the one we've already showed in the 9th inning yesterday, and another ball hit well. The other thing Gutierrez has done is he's positioned himself on each hitter pretty well, too. You know, he's shading him over to right center field. Nice job of hitting. Nothing to show for it, though.
Andrews is wearing Gutierrez out. Keep hitting the ball to right center this entire series. Ian Snell missing down to Murphy. Ian Snell, by the way, pitched for prospective owner Chuck Greenberg in Altoona, Pennsylvania not too long ago. That's one thing as we get to know Mr. Greenberg. It seems like he fondly remembers a lot of the guys that have passed through his minor league franchises that are now here, and a couple of Rangers are included. Elvis Andrews played for him in Myrtle Beach. And Mr. Greenberg reports that Jared Saltalamacchia could probably run for mayor in Myrtle Beach. That's how popular he was as a Pelican. Arias goes, and Murphy fouls it.
Another catcher's interference. I don't know how many times guys have done it back-to-back at bats.
Murphy again. That's got to be a Ranger record. I don't think there's ever been a Ranger that's reached base in the same game on catcher's interference.
I don't remember it. Well, it happens so infrequently. I don't remember who the last guy it happened to was anyway, let alone twice. Here's a look at it.
Is it because Murphy goes back just a little more than?
Well, it's a pitch away and down, and he has to reach for it. And the catcher's reaching out for it. I don't know if Arias was running on that player.
He was, yeah.
And so he's trying to get a little bit of a jump, catch the ball, and get rid of it quickly. And I think just the combination allowed it to happen. Well, boy, back-to-back innings, back-to-back at bats, catcher's interference. But if it's another man in scoring position, gives Michael a chance.
Yeah, I mean, you put that straight in the files of something you'll never see again at the ballpark.
Can't imagine it.
And then just as we say that, maybe it happens next inning too, and then it's 3 in a row.
Well, I would have said you'll never see 3 Eagles in a row. And Mickelson came about 6 inches from one yesterday, so you never know.
The record for one season is 7. Believe it or not, Dale Berra reached base 7 times in one season on catcher's interference.
Well, I don't know, but you reach 7 times in one season. You've either got an unusual swing where your bat kind of sweeps back before it goes to the ball, or you're almost trying to do it.
Michael Young, bouncing ball. Jack Wilson's got it. 6-4 to end the inning. And David Murphy sets a team record for most times reaching base on catcher's interference within 40 minutes. 5-1 Rangers at the end of 3. And the Rangers not complaining about it. They're leading 5-1, but there have been some oddities in this game. Yesterday's game had some wrinkles too. For a while, the only runs that scored yesterday were on balls that got away at home plate. There was a wild pitch and a 2-run throwing error, and that was all the scoring for about 6 innings. Eventually, Seattle won 4-3. Another game for Nelson Cruz to homer. Today, the Rangers have a homer from Michael Young. And that's one of 8 hits already off of Ian Snell. We're talking about Ian Snell having pitched at Altoona a few years ago. That's where the superstar prospect Steven Strasburg is making his appearance today for the Nationals AA team in Harrisburg. That'll pack a ballpark, I would think. There's a base hit. Right up the middle it goes for Gutierrez. That gets away. Hamilton, though, recovers. I think if you're operating a minor league team, you just hope for something like that. You get some guy, down on a rehab assignment who's famous, like Josh Hamilton.
Roger Clemens.
Or Roger Clemens, sure. Or you get the guy on his way up, catch him while you can. And Steven Strasburg is that guy.
I noticed there was over 7,000 in Oklahoma City yesterday, 10,000 in Frisco. So
yeah.
Minor leagues are doing very well.
Ken Griffey Jr., who did not spend much time in the minor leagues. He was on the bullet train to Seattle. "21 years ago yesterday is when he debuted in the big leagues, and he did so with a home run. .629 home runs later, Ken Griffey Jr. still having at it. And of course, he's had to return to Seattle. Left the team in the year 2000 to go to Cincinnati. Will anybody ever remember that he played 41 games as a Chicago White Sox?
Oh boy, barely, I guess.
When the Reds traded him at the deadline in 2008, and then he, as a free agent, came back to Seattle last year. Runner goes, good jump. Trainer is going to step and throw. It is too late. Down 5-1, Seattle's running.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to sit on a deficit. Going to try to make things happen. If you got guys who can run the bases, you say we haven't had any big innings this year. We got to get runs when we can. It's early in the game. If we can steal a base, sneak a run in, that's one run closer. Tried to do it with Figgins last inning, but Trainer threw him out.
Fifth on the all-time list now in terms of home runs in the big leagues. And there isn't anybody saying that there's anything tainted about any one of them. Of course, the era we just kind of swerved out of, a lot of the big home run hitters, there was a lot of doubt. Not with Griffey. He's going to take a walk. They get 2 on, nobody out. I think Griffey's just built up so much in terms of a stockpile of goodwill. Got to think he's the only big leaguer tag to have been named an American Public Diplomacy Envoy by Condoleezza Rice. Not everybody else is doing that. So with 2 on and nobody out, it is Jose Lopez. Not before Feldman turns to give Gutierrez a look. That one sweeps in for a strike right up near the letters. Final from the National League today. Johan Santana gave up 4 in the first, and the Nationals beat the Mets today 5-2. Josh Willingham had a grand slam in the first inning. Wow. Lopez may never get a fastball.
Lopez, as we said, doesn't strike out a lot. Struck out in his first time up on this same pitch. And a sweeping breaking ball. See it out of the strike zone. Didn't look out of the strike zone when he started his swing.
Wow, look at that. With 2 on and nobody out, Scott Feldman just swings 3 of them in there, off speed, and down goes Lopez.
Well, Lopez is a good, solid hitter. He's struggling right now, so you got to take advantage of it. Looks like he's expanding his strike zone a little bit on those breaking balls. But that is a four-run lead early in the game, though, with a couple of men on and nobody out. That's a big out. One of the few guys in the lineup who's a home run threat.
Fastball missing to Eric Burns. Infield to double play depth. Burns in for Milton Bradley today. Milton starting his Mariners tenure just 1 for 21, and he leads the league in strikeouts, 9 of those. Nice catch up there in the crowd.
Yeah, and it timed all the way. Had his glove hanging over the railing when it was halfway there.
And then the handoff to the young Michael Young fan. Check it out. Bang. I dig the celebration there too. Back to the mound it goes. Feldman is ready. There's one. There's two. Double play. Shaking off the disappointment of yesterday, it's going well for the Rangers this afternoon. They're leading Seattle 5-1. As he and Snell last only 3 innings for Seattle. Colomé, former Tampa Bay Ray, among others.
I remember when Colomé first came up with the A's when he was in the minor leagues coming up. He was one of those kids that could throw the ball 100 miles an hour. I don't think he does right now. Still got a good arm, though.
Hamilton zaps one to center field. Gutierrez turns and looks. It is off the wall. A cannon shot from Josh Hamilton. It's a double.
Yeah, well, anybody that was worried about Josh's timing, don't worry about it now. He's got 2 doubles, one off the center field wall, one in the gap in left center. He's walked on some close pitches. And it's just a matter of timing. Just get that toe tap down right. Everything else is falling into place now.
Josh said he went and looked at some video from his wonderful 2008 season and just tried to mimic what he saw on the video. There's that toe tap. He just saw it, and he turns on the ball. A little bit higher, and it's out. And welcome to the ball game, Jesus Colome. Is this a good first week for Vlad, hitting .524?
I'd say that's pretty good.
Highest batting average in the history of this ballpark. More than 200 at bats for him now, lifetime. He's about a .410 hitter here.
Guy National League that's off to a good start is Placido Blanco. He's hitting over 500 as well.
And the Phillies as a team are hitting around .330. They beat the Astros today, so the Astros are now 0-6.
I think the first 5 or 6 guys in the Phillies lineup are hitting 400.
Well, the Astros started today 0-5, and they had to face Roy Halladay.
I got a well-pitched game from Roy Oswalt and lost 2-1.
The battle of the Roys. Halladay goes all the way. And Philadelphia off to a nice start this year. Marlins beat the Dodgers 6-5. I mentioned the Nationals over the Mets. Reds beat the Cubs. Vlad Guerrero sends one in the air to center. Hamilton thought about it, but he's going back to second now. Got a rain delay in San Francisco. Atlanta and the Giants today. Of course, there's all that whoop-de-doo about the Atlanta rookie Jason Hayward. I wonder if the Braves tag are going to end up regretting trading Javi Vasquez. I just don't know if they've got all the pitching they're going to need. I like their team a lot, but
well, they sure had a good season from them last year. I don't know if it was a matter of finances or the player they got. Melky Cabrera was one of the players they got back for him. I'm sure they'd like to have Javier the way he pitched for him last year. Didn't fare too well in his Yankee opener, but he'll be a big pitcher for the Yankees. He's got great stuff.
Rangers will see the Yankees on this road trip coming up. Nelson Cruz had a great trip to New York last year. Remember, hit that 3-run homer with his dad in attendance.
Oh, that was one of my best games of the year watching that. His father had a smile that lasted about a week. He was so happy.
You'd probably hear him on about 100.
That was great.
You could almost hear him in the press box. You know, that's my boy.
Yeah. That's what the smile said, that's for sure.
Rangers have to go to Cleveland first. And last year, things went really well when the Rangers played the Indians. They took 8 out of 9 games against them. Looks like it'll be Rich Harden against Fausto Carmona tomorrow. That's the Indians' home opener. The Indians were the Rangers' home opener last year. And in fact, in that series, the Rangers won all 3 games. Started the year 3-0.
Cleveland's in the process of coughing up about a 7-run lead in that game in the 9th inning to the Tigers.
Yeah, Tigers have come all the way back. It's 8-8 in the 9th. Tigers have 19 hits in that game. Two-one delivery. And a big swing. Nelly Cruz comes up empty. Heading out on the road, you can see the Rangers with the off day in Cleveland. They'll have an off day in Boston. They don't play at home again until Friday the 23rd against the Tigers. And follow the Rangers on Fox Sports Southwest. We'll have the game in Cleveland tomorrow afternoon. 2:05 first pitch, North Texas time. Another National League score. The Rockies lead the Padres 3-0 at the end of 4. Matt Stairs made the Padres. That's his 12th
I saw
team.
that. You have to think that Matt's going to get a September call-up from a different team to set the record this year.
He's tied Mike Morgan and Ron Vallone. 12 different major league teams, only 18 to go. Wave and a miss. Nelson Cruz is gone. Out number 2.
You don't meet many nicer guys than the Mo Man.
No, he's great. Anybody who summers in San Diego and spends their winters in Maine, you just gotta love. Another big, strong guy that you don't hear that much about, but we brought his name up the other day. That guy from the Pirates, Garrett Jones, off to the great start. Saw a stat today that since he got called up last year, on the home run tote board, it is Garrett Jones 24, Albert Pujols 19.
Wow.
Those are great stories. Garrett Jones was 28 when he finally got called up for the first time, and was, just kind of always tabbed as one of those players who was not quite ready for prime time. That quadruple A player, a little bit too good for triple A, not good enough for the majors.
Until you give a guy a chance, those are pretty tough decisions to make right there. Give him a chance and find out. Looks like he might have been someone could have helped him years before that.
Well, the guy on deck, Matt Trainer, had to wait forever until he got his shot. He didn't get to the major leagues until 2004. He broke in 1994. He had played in more than 900 minor league games before finally he got up to the Marlins. Get you from Crash Davis to Crush Davis right here.
The Tigers won that game 9-8.
Did they really?
At
well?
home. What a win at home. I don't know what the score was at one time. I think it was like 8-1.
It was 8-3, and it was 5-0 in the first inning. Cleveland. Yeah, Tigers got 1 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, and 3 in the 9th to win. Outside, 2-2. Tigers will be an interesting team this year. They got both younger and older somehow. They bring in Johnny Damon, but also go with the rookie center fielder, Jackson.
Cleveland would be like Seattle. You go to spring training for 6 or 7 weeks, spend the first week on the road. It's a long time. Those two teams haven't been home for 2 months.
Fouled off of the catcher. Been a rough day for Adam Moore. Been flagged twice for catcher's interference. That game in Detroit, by the way, Tag, looks like it ended on a wild pitch.
Oh, boy.
'18th pitch of the inning. Bounced it up there. Well, the Rangers chased Ian Snell after just 3 innings. He allowed 8 hits in the 3 innings, 5 runs.
Well, we've seen Ian Snell a couple of times at the end of the season last year, once in August and once in October. He pitched 2 solid games against the Rangers. As we've already mentioned, he pitched well. 9 of his 13 Seattle starts before today, 2 earned runs or less. So the Rangers just caught him on a day when he didn't have his best stuff. The Mariners are counting on him to be a big part of their staff.
Davis sends it deep in the air, left center field. Gutierrez is back and over. He's got it. And the inning comes to an end. The leadoff double does not blossom. We have reached the end of 4. The Rangers lead by 4.
Good time. Love the Rangers. You girls enjoy the rest of the game, all right, huh? All right, there we go, Josh.
Thank you, Jim. We go to the 5th inning on Girl Scout Sunday here at the ballpark. Scott Feldman is getting it cranked up here with a 5-1 lead. Mark McLemore will join us in this inning. Talk a little baseball. He has played for both of these teams, and today, well, let's start with the guy at the plate here. This is a weird one today. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but Adam Moore twice called for catcher's interference. Does a player know, when you're the batter, do you know immediately that you've drawn catcher's interference when you?
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
because
no doubt.
Your bat's going through the zone and you hit that catcher's glove and you automatically know. You're the first one to know.
Does the umpire sometimes miss it or never?
Oh, he misses it sometimes. I mean, it's real evident when you really hit the glove. Like the second time on the second catcher's interference, you could barely see it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was surprised that he even was able to call it. But sometimes they miss it.
Sometimes what helps the umpire is he hears it. It's tough to see it, but if you really slap the glove pretty good, you can. It's a weird feeling as a hitter. You know, you got no idea it's going to happen. You go to hit the ball, and it's like someone grabbed your bat.
Right.
Feldman's battery mate today is Matt Trainer, and as Feldman gets a pop-up here, seems like these guys are pretty much in sync, doesn't it?
It really does, and for me, that was going to be the key. Matt hasn't seen much of Scotty throwing, or hasn't caught him much, so for him to be in sync right now, that's a very big testament to the catcher that Matt Trainer is.
It's funny, ironically, when Trainer was picked up in spring training, he rolled into Rangers camp on the one off day that the Rangers had the whole time down there. The only guy that was there just getting some work in happened to be Scott Feldman. So the guy that he met first, he gets to catch today. But until you actually get out there in a game situation, you really don't know what you got, right? I mean,
you really don't know, but you know the good thing about it is Matt's been around. You know, he's a veteran catcher, so he understands, and he understands what he needs to do with each pitcher, even if he hasn't caught him a whole lot. So I think that's one of the major reasons they got him.
The Rangers busting out with the bats a bit today, too. You knew that was going to happen eventually.
It's always just a matter of time. I mean, these guys are going to hit. They're very good hitters. They've got professional hitters in the lineup, and they're going to hit. It's always just a matter of time for these guys.
Here comes Murphy's got to pull up on it. Jack Wilson is on. Ichiro comes up next. I'm told we've got an Ask the Analyst question for Mark McLemore. Appreciate those of you who have been texting those along. Hi, here we are, but I don't know what the question is. Oh, there we go. Let's see here. What was your favorite memory from your time with the Rangers? Asking 1773.
I would have to say that first flag over there, the 1996 banner, winning the division for the first time here in Texas and making it to the playoffs. That was a very special year. A lot of people didn't think that we had the team to do it, and we did it.
And the weirdest clinching ever. You guys knew for about an hour and a half out there that you got it done. And probably even before that, because the final that was finally posted, it wasn't like it was a close game. It was 8-1. I mean, you knew it was happening that night.
You really did. But the key word that you said there was clinching. Didn't matter how you do it, whether we won or lost, we clinched it.
You lose, you go in there and just dogpile each other. It's really weird.
That's a little different.
Mark McLemore visiting with us, and he'll be on the air after the game as well as part of Rangers Live. You can text your questions to 57538. I want to ask the analyst, which is, of course, Mark McLemore today. Ball gets away. Matt Trainer is not going to have a play. Ichiro will bat with a 2-1 count. Of course, the Rangers ended up winning 3 times in a span of 4 years. And, I mean, I wasn't here for it, Mac, but, you know, when something like that happens, when you go to the playoffs 3 times in 4 years, I'm sure you get this sense like, all right, here we go. This is going to just keep on happening.
Well, we had the team to do it, and that was definitely our thought every year going into spring training, that we're going to finish this in the World Series. It wasn't just to win the division or get to the playoffs, but our goal every year was to win the World Series. And we had great teams in, and we had a great chemistry going, and we went out and we played ball every day.
Johnny Oates was your manager. What was it like playing for Johnny? I know you liked Johnny Oates. You had him as a manager other places other than the Rangers.
Right. I love Johnny. I played for Johnny for 8 years.
That ball taking off the bat of Ichiro, but there's Hamilton gliding back. And spins and fires one in a couple hundred feet.
Yeah, I was able to play for Johnny for 8 years. It was great playing for him in Baltimore, great playing for him here 5 years in Texas. And Johnny was the kind of manager that said, hey, you go out there and do what you do and just see what happens at the end of 9 innings. And he made the clubhouse a great atmosphere to be around. You know, he allowed us to bring our kids out to the ballpark in the clubhouse, run around. Of course, they had to, game time or before that, go out. But just having the freedom to do that, it was great. It made my time with Johnny outstanding.
John, I'm sorry, Ted, go ahead.
I was just going to say, with a veteran team like you had, that pretty much is the kind of manager you really want, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, when you're a veteran team like we were, most guys had kids that were able to come out to the ballpark and play around on the field during batting practice. You want to have that freedom because it brings everybody closer together. You get to know everybody's family. And we spend so much time on the road away from our families. It really helped put us at ease and just go out and relax and play baseball.
And Johnny Oates, who passed away during Christmas time of 2004. And during his sickness, he said he actually felt that he'd been blessed as a somewhat famous person. He had a stage to show America about perseverance and strength. And no one had a higher dose of those two things than Mr. John Oates.
Johnny was a great man. He helped me tremendously, not only on the field, but off the field as well.
Figgins turns on one and shoots it into right. The Mariners get back to within 5-2 as Figgins will end up at second. That's his second hit off of Feldman. We talked earlier about how Figgins has seen Feldman plenty. Now has 31 career at-bats against him. No one else in the big leagues has even 23 at-bats against Scott Feldman. So Figgins has seen some things and starting to figure him out.
He had a pretty good pitch. When you look at the second pitch, that was his cutter. Actually, a little bit off the plate, a little bit inside. But Figgins puts a nice swing on it. Must have been anticipating a ball in there.
And just to finish a thought on Johnny Oates, I mean, obviously on the field, he did what Billy Martin, Whitey Herzog, Bobby Valentine could not. He took the Rangers into the postseason. Remains the only manager in the history of the franchise to get him into the playoffs, and he did it 3 times.
Johnny was really able to identify the players that he needed and wanted, and Doug Melvin was able to go out and acquire those players, and I think that goes hand in hand. The two of them worked extremely well together. Doug was the assistant general manager in Baltimore while Johnny was managing there, and then being able to bring that combination over here to Texas together really made a difference.
Do you ever see a more admitted and complete neat freak than Johnny Oates? I mean, he was just so meticulous with how he did everything.
I can remember he used to ask Zach Manassian to bring towels from his locker here to Kansas City because the towels were too small in Kansas City.
Well, his wife Gloria used to tell stories about him, and quite lovingly, of course. But I mean, Johnny would arrange his clothes in his closet by color and alphabetically by the color.
Wow, that's a little too much.
That's going a long way.
Black before blue, because alphabetically. We keep a very tidy desk in his office, of course. Kochman a rip and a foul back. 2-2. Chatting with Mark McLemore. Again, he'll be on the set after the game to break this one down. Feldman's pitch count getting up there a bit, Mac, is going to be about 90 here in the 5th inning.
Well, I think, he might be able to come out, depending on how many more he throws this inning, he might be able to come out in the next inning and see what he's got. He's got a 3-run lead, so I think Ron's got a little bit of breathing room to work with here.
Kochman pops it into shallow left center, or excuse me, to left field. That's Andrews going back, and he's got it. Mac, always a pleasure. Thank you, buddy.
You got it, babe.
See you afterwards.
Right. You got it.
All right. Mark McLemore visiting with us. The Rangers with a 5-2 lead halfway through it. And you are here watching the Rangers along with us at the ballpark this afternoon. Some cloud cover, but it's pleasant. The Rangers enjoying a 5-2 lead, bottom third of the order here in the bottom of the 5th inning in a very slow-moving game today. Umpire Joe West would not approve. Although it's not really the Rangers and Mariners' fault. They're staying in the box today. Joe West speaking out about the pace of game with the Yankees and the Red Sox, and apparently was told never to do that again. But
well, you know, I guess it's probably a little out of place for an umpire to do that. I think Terry Francona felt that way. On the other hand, I don't think that Joe was saying anything that a lot of people hadn't thought themselves, that those two teams play a lot of long games.
Well, maybe the choice of the words pathetic and embarrassing might constitute a redo, but I think his heart was absolutely in the right place. The umpires are under instruction to move the game along.
Exactly.
And it goes on Joe West's record as the crew chief that, hey, you know, you officiated a game where it took 3:48, and Joe West is saying, look, I'm doing everything I can here.
Yeah, and, you know, chances are if Joe could go back, he'd take back the things he said. But, you know, umpire gets done after the game. He's asked some questions. He's a little fired up after the game himself.
What's your opinion of Kingman's performance?
I'll tell you what I think.
One of the great Tommy Lasorda outtakes of all time. Colomé deals, and Trainer is hit with the pitch.
Ouch. Boy, he didn't even flinch.
No, he's a catcher. He's a tough guy.
Man. Well, if you like the Tommy Lasorda outtakes, you'll love a couple of Earl Weavers. that one that he had with
a tomato patch?
No, with Jim Haller. What's Haller's first name, the umpire? Not Jim Haller.
Bill Haller.
Bill Haller at first base. Boy, that was a classic.
There was a lot of beeps in that one.
Yeah, I won't use the bleeps, but we're talking about the Hall of Fame. Haller says, "You're not going to the Hall of Fame." "Oh, yes, I am." "For what? Messing up World Series games?"
Using language that would make Chris Rock blush the whole time.
That's a great one, boy. Tom Haller was a catcher. That was Bill Haller's brother.
Definitely not Joaquin Haller.
No.
Here's Joaquin Arias, though, and he's going to pop one up. That ball is completely eating up Kochman. Turn left, turn right.
Disappeared on him.
Where'd it go?
That's one of those balls. The wind's probably swirling a little bit. It got up in the air, and Casey just got turned around, lost track of the ball. It can happen to the best of them. That's why when a player or a fielder can come in on a ball, it's a lot easier than when it's directly over your head. Where is it?
Mighty Casey is strung out.
Unfortunately, Casey might have to watch that tonight if he's watching the highlights.
That goes on his blooper reel. It's a short one, though. He's a great defensive player. Arias trying right field and get the hose and cool off Joaquin Arias. 3 hits yesterday, 3 hits today.
Well, you know, Casey's got the ultimate comeback. You've already talked about it. Check my fielding percentage.
Yeah. Best in the history of the game, so can happen to anybody.
Well, Arias is saying, if I can get 3 hits off Felix Hernandez, I know I can get 3 hits the next day, and he did.
Well, with Ian Kinsler out, the plan was initially that Andres Blanco would be the everyday second baseman. Arias just kind of got stuck in there to give Blanco a day off, and Arias is not about to give up the spot in the lineup. Kinsler definitely getting itchy, though, to get back out there. And poor Blanco just sits and waits his turn. Andrews, big swing.
Well, you know, it's kind of an interesting situation, because as a regular player at second base, what Ron Washington is saying, I really like what Joaquin Arias is doing for me, but the other side of it is when Ian comes back to play second base every day and you don't need a regular infielder, then it comes down to which one is the best utility infielder. Blanco has shown that he can play shortstop very well.
Yeah,
it may very well be that Blanco is more suited to be the utility player.
And it's possible that Arias gets sent down to hitting 714.
Yeah,
I mean, it could absolutely happen.
But the longer he keeps hitting 700, the harder it's going to be to do it.
Especially if the rest of the team is still hitting 200. You know, send down the guy hitting 700.
Well, one thing a player can do is take care of his own affairs.
Yep.
Put the numbers up yourself, and you can't control the decision, but you can control, to the best of your ability, what you do when you're on the field.
And at the very least, boy, you talk about increasing your trade value if it comes to that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's tight and almost hit Elvis. Looked like it might have billowed that jersey a little bit. Sometimes the umpires will give you that if it hits your jersey. But Rick Adair is going to come out, the pitching coach, to talk to Colomé. You can see the jersey move with Elvis. Rick Adair out there to remind Jesus Colomé that we're in the home stretch for the 2010 census. It's not too late. Fill out, mail back your census form today, Jesus, and everybody else. Three balls to strike, runners at the corners, and nobody out. Rangers trying to just run away from the Mariners here. Check some other scores for you in just a moment. First, the 3-1 from Colomé. Missing in. And David Murphy with the bases loaded. Can he reach base for a third straight time on catcher's interference?
He does. It's good for a run.
That is not Mark Teixeira. It is Kanaoka Teixeira. Mark Teixeira with the Yankees today, beating Tampa Bay 7-3. That's gone final. The day after CC Sabathia almost got himself a no-hitter. Boston leading Kansas City 8-3 in the 8th. Ball one to Murphy. I mean, we've never seen that. Reached on interference twice. Fly ball left field. That ball carries. Burns going back near the track. And he's got it. Everybody's tagging. And the Rangers lead it 6-2.
That's a very productive fly ball right there. That's what you want to do in that situation. Make some solid contact. Make things happen. Score the run and move everybody else up.
Yeah, a little base hit to the right side here from Michael Young can make it 8-2 now. Angels leading the A's 3-1 today. Bobby Abreu has hit a home run. Angels trying to get to 3-4. That would dip the A's to 4-3. Everything is getting nice and tightly bunched in the AL West a week in. High fly ball. Michael Young sends it towards center for Gutierrez. Arias is set to tag from third. And here he comes. The throw from Gutierrez is cut off. Back-to-back sacks.
That's good baseball right there. It looks like a simple thing to do when you see these runs scoring, but so many times when you need a run late in the game, it doesn't happen. Nice to see a good job being done by both Murphy and Young. Take advantage of a hit batter, soft single, and a walk. A couple of fly balls. Only one hit in the inning, but the Rangers have 2 runs.
And the Chicken Little mentality that I think was seeping in a little bit after the Rangers weren't hitting at all in that Toronto series, maybe going away a little bit. 10 more hits today. The sky is not falling.
The Mariners had scored in the top of the inning to make it a 3-run game. It's great to come back and score yourself. Keep adding some runs on. Instead of sitting on the big 4-run second and a 5-1 lead, Rangers keep adding. Have kept adding.
Check swing from Hamilton.
There's a ball that Josh might have swung at last year.
Yep.
Borderline pitch. Now you're ahead 2-0. Got a great chance to see a good pitch.
After a very solid spring training. Josh Hamilton. It's been all extra base hits for Josh this first week of the season. He has 3 doubles, 1 triple. No singles yet. See all those Ian Kinsler hats down there. That was a giveaway today. Those red and white ones. Real nice crowd today. Probably about 25, 27,000 or so. Hamilton to right field. Ichiro going back, and he's got it. Gathers it in to end the inning. But the Rangers scored twice, and at the end of 5, they lead 7-2. Scott Feldman, nice healthy 5-run lead as we get to the 6th. And the hottest Seattle hitter, Franklin Gutierrez, he's actually got a 12-game hitting streak going back to last year. For the most part, the Mariners, though, they've had a tough first week. Not exactly driving the ball. That was the case for the Rangers for a few games, but now they've gone to the closet, found out where they put their hitting shoes. Everything is going well today. 7 runs on 10 hits. And the Burlingame, California native, Scott Feldman, the 17-game winner from a year ago. Scott doing a lot of that damage, not here, but on the road. He won a dozen games on the road last year, the only pitcher in baseball to do that. First Ranger ever to do that, win 12 road games in a season. High fly ball. And a swirling wind today, making Nelly Cruz concentrate a little more, but he's got it. Ken Griffey Jr. coming up. We go to Emily Jones.
Guys, here with your friendly sixth inning reminder to check out our website, foxsportssouthwest.com. In case you haven't heard, Texas Stadium went down today. We've got all the latest news on our website. Also, a complete breakdown of the 2010 Big 12 South football schedule. And don't forget, you can text the analyst 57538, and you can ask Matt any question you would like, or Jim Sundberg. They'll answer the best of the best in the postgame show, guys.
Nice. Thank you, Em, very much. Here is Griffey. Next extra base hit for Griffey, he will tie Rafael Palmeiro on the all-time list for 6th. Mariners famously making Griffey the #1 pick in the nation back in 1987. We've told this story before, I think, Tag, but there was some in-house fighting with the Mariners franchise. The owner wanted his baseball people to take pitcher Mike Harkey. And Bob Harrison was a senior scout that really wanted Griffey, and the story goes that he just kind of fudged the reports on Griffey, just, you know, turned up the dial a little bit on everything. The Mariners had Harkey graded out as 70 of 80. They had Griffey as 70 as well, but Harrison just added 2 points to Griffey's score for no reason other than to break the tie and give his owner a reason not to override the baseball people.
Yeah, if you're making your scouting decisions by the owner based on a number, you're doing some bad scouting. That decision pretty much boiled down to, you want a real successful college pitcher or a high school hitter.
High drive, Griffey into the corner and caught by Nelson Cruz, denying him of career home run number 631.
There are a lot of times in the draft where a scouting department will feel that you need some pitching. The college pitcher is close to the big leagues. Harkey was a big, strong kid coming out of college. You know, you felt that he'd be a starting pitcher and stay healthy and help you for 10 years. And a young high school player is a little bit farther away from the big leagues. And fortunately for the Mariners, they looked at the long term and saw the future that Griffey had and made the right decision.
Good call.
It was definitely a good call. And then Harkey was the next pick. I think the Cubs picked Harkey with the next pick.
Griffey, as it turned out, when he got to the big leagues, the very first pitch thrown to him in his first home game in the majors, home run against Eric King at the old King Dome, which no longer exists. They blew it up, Tag, like another building got blown up today. Did you get up early and watch what went down in Irving today?
No, I'm definitely going to look forward to seeing a replay of it. I want to see it, but I would not wake up. I didn't wake up or even think to watch it today.
All the years we've been showing Seattle blowing up the Kingdome, now the Mariners broadcasters, if they want to, can show this. It just kind of crumbled.
That's pretty cool. Doing the wave.
To its ultimate demise.
Seemed like they could have got a camera a little bit closer to it than that.
They're easy for you to say. You don't have to run the camera. Lopez sends that one foul. Well, the new building that the Cowboys have right down the street, that's not bad. Slowly up near third, that's fair. Scooped up, Michael Young puts it across to take care of Lopez. And Scott Feldman, 6 quality innings today. The Rangers lead Seattle 7-2. And Kanakoa Teixeira will take over. This is a guy that was taken away in the Rule 5 draft from the Yankees. They were poised to have 2 Teixeiras on their team, but it was not to be.
Different spelling, though, huh?
Uh-huh.
No I in the first, after the first E in this Teixeira.
He's missing an I.
Art Fowler pitched in AAA with one eye.
Vladimir Guerrero with another base hit down in the left.
Art Fowler was our closer in Denver. He was about 47 years old, 40 pounds overweight, blind in one eye, and he taped shin guards underneath his socks so he wouldn't get hit by any hard line drives up the middle. He saved 17 games, and we were in first place every day of the season. That was our closer.
Can only imagine the deformities you guys had in your rotation.
Art went from there to coach for Billy Martin everywhere Billy went.
Yeah, that's right.
Anybody that knows Art Fowler, boy, you know one of the funniest guys that ever put a uniform on. Art passed away recently. What a great guy.
Nelson Cruz will send it foul. Doug Mathers getting ready in the Ranger bullpen, and again the 6 innings that the Rangers got out of Feldman, some of those innings were pretty taxing. So even though he went 7 innings back on Monday for the opener, looks like 6 will be the max today. Breaking ball missing to Nelly Cruz. Rangers got 6 innings out of Matt Harrison yesterday. Boy, Harrison just looked great. A little bit of a stumble start in that first inning. Harrison didn't throw a wild pitch all year last year. Threw one to score a run in the first inning yesterday, but the subsequent 5 innings were spot on.
Oh, it's good to see. One time through the rotation, and now one time into the second time around. A lot of good starts.
It's not a bad pitch on 3-1, down and away from Nelly Cruz. Teixeira, the native Hawaiian, to the plate with the pitch, and he walks Nelly Cruz. 2 on, nobody out.
2 walks for Nelly today.
In spring training, he had more walks than strikeouts. I thought that was a very positive sign, Tag, and he's carried that right into the first week of the regular season.
Yeah, Nelly's only struck out, counting the 1 time today. He's only struck out 3 times. Now he has 4 walks. Good point. Making some good contact for a power hitter. And being patient as well.
Making more contact is high up on the list for the Rangers this year. They led the league in strikeouts a year ago, set a team record. I think the value of simply making contact is probably best illustrated by the Angels. The Angels scored 100 more runs than the Rangers last year, but they hit 50 fewer home runs. That doesn't seem possible, but the difference is the Angels struck out about 250 fewer times than the Rangers did.
And they had a lot more base runners.
Yep. We brought the stat out on the broadcast yesterday about how the Rangers last year struck out more than twice as many times as they did back in 1980. Richie Zisk led the team with 72 punch-outs in 1980. Last year, the Rangers had 12 different players with that many strikeouts.
Well, the goal is to continue to hit for power, but to cut down on the strikeouts and add some on-base percentage.
That is job 1, according to Clint Hurdle, the new Ranger hitting coach. And the 2-strike approach, a big part of that, and it's on display right here. Chris Davis, who did not do well at all with 2 strikes on him a year ago. Breeding confidence for those 2-strike at-bats. Marlon Byrd used to say when he was here, with 2 strikes you either get tough or you get scared. Last year, the Rangers were 28th out of 30 big league teams in terms of what happened after 2 strikes. That ball into the crowd from Chris Davis. Remember, it's a sonic slam inning. If Chris reaches, Matt Trainer will have a chance to put 25 large in the bank for our contestant today. Well, the Rangers are in no hurry to get to Cleveland.
It's a long game, but fortunately, the thing that's made it a long game is how long the Rangers have been at bat today. So you can handle that. Chris hanging tough with 3 or 4 straight foul balls.
These are good 2-strike approaches right here from Chris Davis. Not trying to step in anything and hit it 400 feet. Bounced it up there, and breaking for third base is Vlad Guerrero. He is safe. Cruz hanging out at first.
Ron Washington was talking about this the other day in his press briefing, how good a base runner Vladimir is. And he got thrown out on the bases the other day, but he talked about the other day, took second base on a ball in the dirt, a lot like this. You can't do it unless you've got a decent lead and a great jump. Even though Vladimir doesn't run like he used to, he still runs well enough with his instincts to be a good base runner for you. He might pick up an RBI for Chris right here with a man on third base and nobody out. Hit a fly ball, pick up a run.
Way high. And Davis, this is exactly what Clint Hurdle wants to see. Foul a few off, don't give in. You can fight back from 1 and 2. Ninth pitch of the at-bat coming up. Taken for a called third strike.
That's a pretty good 3-2 pitch.
Yep, wasn't looking for that, right?
Tip your hat to Teixeira on that one. Dropped a 3-2 backdoor curveball on him. And after bouncing the ball 10 feet out in front of the plate, throwing one a foot over his head, then you throw that pitch, just go back to the dugout shaking your head after that.
Brings up the catcher Matt Trainer, who today becomes the 18th different catcher since Pudge Rodriguez took off as a free agent back in 2002. Of course, Pudge came back for an encore for a bit last year. Been a nice debut behind the plate today for Matt Trainer as a Ranger. Showing off a strong arm. Here's our Coors Light freeze cam.
Here's a nice job of getting rid of the ball quickly, which you have to do on Figgins, and a nice play by Andrews, who caught the short hop, and what a beautiful camera shot that is. Showing the tag right before his foot got to the bag. Good call by the second base umpire. That's Lance Barksdale today. Trainer to right base hit. 12 Ranger hits this afternoon. It's 8-2. And Matt got hit by a pitch to start the 5th and scored a run. Now he's driven in a run in the 6th. High fastball, got on top and just looped it into right. Seven different Rangers have at least one RBI. In fact, 6 have one, and Michael has 2. Michael's got the home run today. Here's a guy with 3 singles this afternoon, Joaquin Arias. Joaquin is actually 6 for his last 6 and 8 for his last 9. Hits it hard, but the Mariners look to turn 2. As the Arias Express is cooled off a little bit.
Rangers, though, rocking Seattle 8-2 at the end of 6. Scott Feldman now ahead of Millwood and Padilla. We've gone to opposite coasts away from the Rangers. Millwood now a Baltimore Oriole. Padilla's an LA Dodger.
And one thing Scott will have before his next start, because of the off day on Tuesday, is an extra day's rest. And so if he throws a few more pitches than normal today, no big deal. Big, strong kid. He can handle it to begin with. And secondly, he's got an extra day rest.
Rich Harden, again with an extra day of rest, will go tomorrow. Rangers and the Indians play some daytime baseball. The Indians home opener. Well, the Indians limp home after coughing one up in Detroit today. 3 in the 9th for the Tigers. There was a game-tying bases-loaded walk and then the wild pitch to end it. Big swing and a foul from Burns. So the Tigers start out 5-1. The White Sox did beat the Twins. And the Twins now are 5-2. Outside corner, and Burns not happy, but he's gone.
A little late with that swing. That ball was by him.
Just by a couple seconds, though. So.
Yeah, he didn't like the call.
That's why he didn't.
I don't blame him.
And then he swung. You're right, about a second after that. Too little, too late. That one outside to Adam Moore.
And every time a pitcher can give you an extra inning, that's one inning the bullpen doesn't have to pitch. And over the course of a season, you save the bullpen 7 or 8 innings like that, and you keep them rested and just make a better chance that no one gets hurt, and they stay stronger. Neftali Feliz will be the closer in the short term. Frankie Francisco will get some outings in less pressure-packed situations just to try to get back on track. He's not hurt. He feels fine. Ron Washington said just yesterday he just wasn't himself. He wants to get his command back. Velocity's been down a little bit, but he can get people out with that velocity. He just needs a little bit better command. He just not in the last 2 outings throwing the ball where he wants to. So they're going to let him ease back into the closer's role. They expect him to be back into it soon, and over the course of the season, he will be the closer.
Michael Young, that's why they call him Slick. As for the closer situation, I'll get you a little bit of audio on that. Let's listen in.
It's going to be tough for us to go through a 6-month season and not have Frankie Francisco be who he is. And we just realized that he's not who he is out there right now, and we won't give him a chance to find himself. So we're going to take Felice from the 8th inning role and move him into the 9th inning, and move Darren Oliver into the 8th inning, and then continue to do what we have to do in the 6th and 7th if the starter don't get us that far.
And when Ron Washington says that Frankie Francisco is not himself, I think that Wash is kind of implying he'd like to see a little bit of the eye of the tiger out there from Frankie. Just hadn't really seen that yet. We know it's there. Again to the left side, Elvis Andrews picks it. Not 6 innings for Feldman today, 7 innings for Feldman today. And the sun is starting to peek out at the ballpark too, so everything looking up. The Rangers leading 8-2. We'll keep it right here for the singing of God Bless America.
All of Major League Baseball, as we pause to honor the men and women of armed services, both at home and our
the 7th, Rangers leading the Mariners by the score of 8-2. Josh and Tom, time for the progressive fan of the game. It is Mallory, the birthday girl from Montana. Could have gone to Chuck E. Cheese today or Bounce House USA. Instead, the Ranger game. Having a good time watching the Rangers win, right?
We love the Rangers. Go Rangers.
Here we go. Here's your progressive bag, a hat, a shirt, and Bob, what is it?
And her favorite song is Pour Some Sugar on Me.
Okay. You want to sing that?
That's right. Let's go. Happy birthday. Pour some sugar on me. In the name of love, pour some sugar on me.
Nice, Bob. Way to go. She got serenaded as well on her birthday. Way to go. Thank you very much, Josh. You know these guys.
Thank you, Jim. And, yeah, happy birthday. And keep enjoying. Keep rocking. Elvis Andrews, base hit right field.
Well, Elvis is what he's doing to come out of his early season slump, if you want to call it that, is he's just going the other way with the ball. And he's doing a great job of it. Got a triple. Gutierrez made a nice play on him in right center field. He walked. Now he's got another line drive to right field. Elvis getting right back where he wants to be. I think that's what he's done. Going up there and just say, I'm going to go the other way with the ball.
And you love that it's working for him.
Yep.
It kind of validates what he's looking to do. David Murphy driving it right field, sending Ichiro back and over. He belly flops and he hangs on. And then makes the weirdest throw back in ever. Kind of still all horizontal. He was able to just curl the ball back into the infield.
Too bad David smoked that ball. Rangers have had a lot of hard hit balls to the outfield in these 3 games caught.
Here's your game summary. Brought to you by Southwest. Scott Feldman again goes 7 innings. And this time it took him 117 pitches. But Taggy walked only 1. That's 1 walk in 14 innings this year for Feldman.
Yeah, and he had somewhere around 60 pitches at the end of the 3rd inning. I'm not sure exactly what it was, 56 maybe. So a lot of his pitches came early in the game. Although I guess technically 7 innings, almost 120 pitches. He averaged about almost 20 pitches an inning today. So I guess that's about the same thing.
Young to first base. Kotzman whips it over to second. And it's the fielder's choice. I think that guy that caught that foul ball tag got the one earlier today. I think that's his 2nd of the afternoon.
Really?
Yeah. I could be wrong, but sure looked like the guy from the 3rd inning. Pretty good day.
There is a precedent at the ballpark. That little boy caught him on back-to-back pitches last year, I think.
Yep, and ended up being the fan of the game. That is the same dude.
Got a good spot right there.
I remember from the Ohio State Buckeye hat.
Did you ever get attacked by Brutus Buckeye?
Boy, if I had a nickel for every time I've been asked that one.
Remember when he came up to the booth in Cleveland?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Tackled me from behind.
That was
tackled by the Ohio State mascot.
That was a really random thing that happened to you that day. Were you put up to that, or how did that even happen? I forget.
I think they knew I went to Michigan, and someone did and sent the Buckeye up there, or whatever you call them. Sounds like a diabolical thing done by Dave Burchett, if I had to guess.
Yeah, our director, diabolical as he may be, is.
I used to call him Veteran Dave. Now he's Diabolical Dave.
From the Ohio State University. Hamilton, line shot, grabbed by Jack Wilson. Almost took the glove right off his hand.
That's as hard as Josh can hit a line drive to shortstop. Boy, Murphy and Hamilton, the last 2 outs of that inning were 2 of the hardest hit balls of the game.
Just diabolical.
It's not right.
More hits for this fill-in second baseman. David Murphy, this is bizarre. Not once, but how about twice reaching base on catcher's interference? First time it's ever happened in a Texas Ranger game. All Scott Feldman for 7 innings, and the Rangers leading 8-2 behind the Scooter. New pitcher for the Rangers as we get to the top of the 8th. Ichiro's about to bat, and he will do so against Doug Mathis. Sun keeps trying to break out here, and occasionally it will do that, but still, for the most part, crowd of just shy of 27,000. They've been under the cloud cover today. The Rangers, at least metaphorically, they're kind of stepping out from the cloud cover today with 8 runs on 13 hits. Ian Snell was the starter for Seattle. Lasted only 3 innings today. They got a couple innings from Jesus Colome. A couple innings from Teixeira. Feldman all the way for the Rangers till right now. Big swing from Ichiro. Didn't get it.
The changeup right there from Doug.
A little bit of investigative research tag on the catcher's interference thing. Again, Murphy reaching twice today as Brandon League is up in the Seattle pen.
Whoops.
That's just kind of how it's gone today for Seattle. Ichiro back to the mound.
Good pitch. Change up away, and then a fastball in and jammed him. Good pitching.
Last time any big league team was involved in a game with 2 catchers interference, it was Seattle as well. And that was way back in 1986 when they were taking on the Minnesota Twins, and it was Mark Salas of Minnesota that was called for it twice. With 2 different Mariners reached. Phil Bradley and Steve Yeager was the other one. Today it was Murphy both times for the Rangers. So about every 24 years in the major leagues, you see 2 catchers interferences in a game, and happened to be today, and it was with Murphy up both times. Although I don't think that one has quite the staying power of, you know, I saw the longest home run in the history of the ballpark, where I saw a no-hitter.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't do a whole lot for your batting average. I mean, it's a quirky thing, but it's not a thing that takes a lot of skill. It's just kind of a weird little thing that happens.
That's not really water cooler talk for tomorrow. I went to the game. You'll never get. I'm saving the ticket stuff because I was there the day that Murphy reached base twice on CI. Hamilton, George left. He's got it.
That's when you're calling home to talk to your parents. You don't brag about getting on base twice on catcher's interference.
That's better than striking out twice.
David would have much rather had that line shot that Ichiro took away from him fall in. I'll tell you that. It goes as an error on the catcher, but it's not an at-bat for the batter.
Strike 1 to Casey Kochman. The A's have come back on the Angels, by the way, leading 4-3. 8th inning in Anaheim. The Angels could start out at 2-5 all at home.
Well, Oakland's getting exactly what everybody thought they would get. Good starting pitching.
Mathis brings a 2-1 to the plate. Kochman checks, and it's just outside.
Well, Doug's borrowing a little page out of Scott Feldman's book. Throw the cutter in and the sinker away. It's a hard cutter that Doug throws, too. Last 23 at 90 miles an hour.
Kochman sailing that one. Hamilton going back and back. It's over his head up against the Stanley sign. So many of the Rangers feature that cut fastball now. In fact, more than half of the active players on the pitching staff right now throw the cutter at least a little. Mathis is one of the latest guys to add that pitch. Jack in the Box showing us some of the scores from today. We mentioned the Tigers' big comeback to get to 5-1. Toronto got another home run today from Alex Gonzalez. Beat Baltimore 5-2. Yankees over Tampa Bay. There's the White Sox final as Minnesota loses for the second time. Brought to you by Jack in the Box. The game tomorrow from Cleveland, a 2:05 first pitch, North Texas time. The Indians only sold out one game all last year. It was their home opener.
Wasn't that long ago they had the banner up there touting how many straight sellouts they had.
455, I believe, is the number. And yeah, tough times in Cleveland. Still a smiling logo, though. These Mariners tried to open in Cleveland, I think it was the year before last, and the entire series, a 4-game series, got snowed out. They had to make up those 4 games in little bite-sized morsels the rest of the year. They just, on an off day, just go on to Cleveland, play one game, and move along to the next town. Wave and a miss by Gutierrez, 2-2. There is no snow in the forecast for us so far, and we're going to be okay, I think.
No, I checked the long-term forecast for this road trip. It looks pretty good. A little chilly in all the cities, but as far as game times go, it's supposed to be pretty good.
Runner at second, 2 down. A beautiful day here in Arlington today. Now the count 3-2. Not quite as breezy as opening day. Not quite as warm. "72 degrees, we are told right now. Doug Mathis almost got him. It's a foul tip. We'll have to reload here. "13 hits for the Rangers, 8 for Seattle." The Rangers have stranded 10 today, but it really hasn't mattered. Obviously a challenging road trip coming up, because 6 of the 9 games are against the Yankees and the Red Sox. Rangers' next home game is Friday, April 23rd. It'll be a fireworks night, and the Tigers in town. Towards left, base hit, and Michael Young lost his glove. Throw in from Murphy is on line. Good throw and good night.
Down 6 runs. That's a little bit of risk taking right there. Great throw by David.
Mike Brumley sent him around, and Kochman gunned down by David Murphy. Rangers have poured it on since then. They're leading 8-2. Brandon League now on the mound for Seattle and skips one to the plate against Vlad Guerrero. Brandon League, a guy who's got high 90s heat and a very good slider. Came to Seattle in a straight up swap of hard throwers. Brandon Morrow to the Blue Jays, Brandon League to Seattle. The two 1977 American League expansion teams trading Brandons. That seems like on the surface a very fair trade. You know, two guys who actually do about the same thing, to throw the ball real hard.
Very disappointing trade, though, for Seattle. If you go back to the draft that Morrow was drafted in, he was a top 10 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
And I think they expected a guy that would either be their closer or a frontline starter. So I almost looked at that trade as they were bailing out, just trying to get what they could get. And they got a, they got a good solid setup guy in League, but League, may someday project as a closer. Right now he's more of a setup man, and I don't think that's what they thought Brandon Morrow was going to be when they drafted him.
5th overall pick for a one-time 59th overall pick, as it turns out.
But you're right. Two good young pitchers with two good hard throwing young pitchers. Morrow's in the rotation now for the Blue Jays.
Yep. Guerrero skips it past the mound. Tough play for Jack Wilson. He got him. Vlad Guerrero bidding for what would have been his 4th infield hit as a Ranger on this opening homestand. Got a 3-for-5 afternoon today. And he will head to Cleveland, leading the league in hitting. With Nelson Cruz not far behind. Only one official at bat for Nelson today. Struck out in the 4th. He's walked twice and he's got a sac fly. He's got 4 of the 6 Ranger home runs on this opening homestand. That ball smoked into center field. Wow. And almost got by Gutierrez on a hop. Well, that ball that he hit out to dead center in the Toronto series seemed to take 2 seconds to get out. That was another one just like that. And as Chris Davis comes up, let's welcome Dana Larson on the set of Rangers Live.
Josh, thank you. I am here to remind you that coming up right after the game is Rangers Live. Mark McLemore, Jim Sundberg will join me here on the windy set of Rangers Live. All of a sudden, we've got the wind coming in here. They'll provide the analysis and also answer more of your Ask the Analyst questions. We'll hear from Ron Washington and the key players, all coming up right after the game, Josh.
I mean, a lot of hits to break down today. Thank you, Dana. There's one for Chris Davis going opposite field. Good sign for Chris when he's doing that.
We were talking about Elvis Andrus getting things going by lining the ball into right field. Chris is doing the same thing. He's hit the ball to left field well. He had a line drive that Gutierrez ran down in left center field that was an out, but he also has a couple of hits today. So it's looking pretty good offensively today for the Rangers. I guess you would say that with 15 hits. They've also hit a lot of balls hard that have been caught. Look at the ball that Josh hit, that David hit last inning. And earlier in the game, some of the balls that Gutierrez has run down.
Left field for Trainer. What a nice little pickup he's ended up being. Knocks in the 9th Ranger run of the day. It's his 2nd straight RBI single after he got hit by a pitch in the 5th. Boy, what a nice way to get out on the road. You got this long 11, 12-day road trip coming up. You don't want to limp out there 2-4 with the bat still in mothballs. That's not going to happen.
Well, the one thing you just don't see happen in baseball, people, I think, that don't know baseball that well will say, boy, Yesterday's loss was just a devastating loss, and you know that can really get the team down and have a carryover effect. But you really don't see that in baseball. Things change so much from day to day. You have 2 new pitchers, and even though yesterday was a tough loss, you can just tell by the way the team bounced back today behind Scott Feldman that those things don't carry over.
Hey, by the way, Tag, Arizona's got it going today. They just put up 13 in the bottom of the 4th inning. And they've overtaken the Pirates 15-4 with the old 13-run 4th.
That'll do it.
He had 4 home runs in that inning. Here's Arias, already with 3 hits today. Again, Kinsler is going to probably need that rehab assignment somewhere, play a few games in the minors before he's good to go. Ian is hoping that by that series at Fenway in about 10 days that he will be a Ranger again.
And Ron Washington said ideally he'd like to get him 20 at bats in the minor leagues. Remember, he really didn't have spring training. He spent almost all of spring training. So, you know, if you figure, well, the reason spring training lasts as long as it does is because the pitchers need that long to get ready. Position players, I think most of them feel in a couple of weeks they're ready to go. But I doubt Ian will be ready in a couple of days. He's going to need at least, 4 or 5 games just to get 20 at bats in.
Well, and, you know, and when you think about it too, I know baseball and football are different, but you hear high ankle sprain in football. That's normally about a 4-week injury before somebody's ready to come back, and it's been about 4 weeks for Ian now with that exact injury, the high ankle sprain. Arias, little half swing caught by Kochman. Another chance for Elvis Andrus to swing the bat. And as you mentioned earlier, Tom, now that he's decided to start going the other way, kind of Michael Young style, suddenly things are looking up for Elvis.
Well, early in the season, when it's only a few games under your belt, you'd look at your batting average and it's 0.99 or 122. And the number looks terrible, but after a couple of games where you get a couple of hits, all of a sudden it's up to, for Elvis, it's up to 250 now. You get a hit right here, it's, who knows, 280, 286, something like that. You move your average up and down quickly early in the year.
$26,800 plus here watching this one today. Nice little bounce back. The Rangers, boy, had it right in their midst yesterday. Let it slip away. Lost 4-3. The Rangers have now led in every game this year. All 6 games they've had a lead at some point, but looks like they'll be 3-3. Slowly hit. Jack Wilson pockets it and gets rid of it. And he's got Elvis to end the inning. The Rangers will take a 9-2 lead into the 9th inning. Back in just a moment. sun finally is peeking out at everybody here now. And the Rangers enjoying a 9-2 advantage. They need to just get 3 outs now. And Tag, you and I love to play that game, the old comedy routine. He doesn't have to call me Johnson. You do have to call him Ray. We can't play this game with Chris Ray.
Yeah, it'd be pretty tough not to call him by his correct last name.
You doesn't have to call him Johnson. That part's true. But Chris Ray brought in from the Orioles, part of that Kevin Millwood deal. And as you pointed out in spring training, this is a guy that not too long ago was a really reliable closer for the Orioles.
Yeah, he was, and he could be a key guy for the Rangers bullpen as well. A guy that's at least a solid setup man, and on days where you need a closer, guy that's had the experience and done it before. Pop that one in there at 94 miles an hour.
That's a great sign that he is back from that Tommy John surgery. It took a while for him to round back into form last year.
It's just a matter of, like it is with a lot of pitchers who've coming back from injuries, build up your arm strength and regain your command.
Ken Griffey Jr. extends those arms and sends one out towards center. Hamilton looking for it. He's got it. I think the thing that we'll have to remember about Chris Ray in that deal with Baltimore, it really wasn't so much Millwood for Ray straight up. It was Millwood for Ray and the financial flexibility to sign Rich Harden and Colby Lewis. Which means that even if Chris Ray had never thrown one pitch as a Ranger, probably be a pretty good trade. Bring in Harden and Lewis. And Colby Lewis looked real good in that first try as a Ranger in the rotation this week. Jose Lopez sends one in the air to left field. And the Rangers are an out away today. Colby Lewis on Friday beat the Mariners, going 7 strong.
I've heard some people on some of the talk shows talking about Colby Lewis making $5 million, and it's right, he does, but it's a 2-year contract. It's not $5 million for 1 year. So Colby is signed at a very economical price for what the Rangers hope he brings to the party.
Slowly hit up near third and spinning foul. Ron Washington's got to be so thrilled with what he's got from his starters so far. Once through the rotation, and now another game from Scott Feldman. The Rangers have the best starting pitching ERA in baseball 1 week into the season.
Well, the Rangers felt coming into spring training that they built up not only depth but quality, and early in the season that's shining through. They've needed an extra starter when Tommy Hunter went down. That showed the depth. They've got solid starters at AAA. Brandon McCarthy's pitched a good game down there. Derek Hollins pitched a good game down there. And they're getting quality at the big league level. So they've seen depth and they've seen quality.
They've seen fire and they've seen rain.
They may see that before it's all over with.
Strike away now for Ray. Again, the Rangers getting set to hit the road for a while. Slammed into the crowd. Rangers Live will follow the broadcast. Rangers about to go to 3-3. Ball game, no, not quite. Oh, Matt Trainer couldn't quite hang on. That's my new call. You like it?
No,
Ted?
that's just a good warm-up for the real one.
All right. Work with me, Matt Trainer. Fouled back.
Burns got some style with his swings, boy.
He does.
He's hanging tough. Of course, Burns has always had style.
He definitely does have that. Very charismatic player. And see how they go after him here. 2 strikes to count. Nothing down low yet. Nat Tuiasosopo has come out on deck. Can I say it now?
Go for it.
Ball game. 9-2 Rangers. And a real nice way to get out on the road. Michael Young homered in the first inning to get it all started today. Everybody had a hand in it. The Rangers 16 hits. And they beat back the Mariners convincingly today, 9-2. Rangers Live on standby will go